Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Harry Muppet, and this is going to be game number 2 of the third place series of games for the HomeStory Cup number 7. Down the bottom left side of the map, we do have our blue Zerg player, TLO, and up the top right side of the map, we do have our red Zerg player, HyuN. And yeah, great game. Actually, it's a very unorthodox game. In game number 1, we saw HyuN go for a fairly predictable path, getting the third base out, getting the roaches out, trying to get some roach stuff done. But TLO, sticking to his guns, did not transition into roaches, kept with the lings, had a bit of banelings at some point, wiping out workers, but mainly just sticking to just average zerglings, and eventually some nice baneling hits on workers and just some crazy harassment all over the place netted him the win. He made use of the fact that lings are so much faster than roaches to attack pretty much every single base at once, and HyuN could not defend all of them because the lings were just too fast and his roaches could not be at every place at once. So yeah, eventually TLO just wore him down enough, and he had so many lings that HyuN just got taken out. So really great play there from TLO, and game number 2 we are going to see exactly how it starts to go on. It does look like that's spawning pool actually. So TLO going for a slightly different build here. Or was it the same? I can't remember who went for the very early expansion last time. I think it was TLO. So yeah, I think this is not an expansion into pool. This is just a pool first. So yeah, definitely should be good for his point of view. Or yeah, so it looks like he's going for a 16 hatch following the 14 pool. Looks like HyuN is going for something a little bit faster. He's actually going for a 14 pull into a 15 hatch. So he'll get his hatchery out a little bit sooner. But yeah, he's definitely going to have a little bit less worker mining at this 15 worker part. But yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Everybody's going on, doing their stuff. And it's all good. And I think they're pretty much evened up now, actually. So yes, we will see what's going to be happening. And the question is, will we be seeing banelings again in this game? I think the answer for that is pretty much certainly from at least one player. I know they both did really great job with the banelings last game. Banelings very slow actually. I noticed that in the last game. And but when you've just got banelings and lings in your own forces, it doesn't matter how slow they are because you can't kite them if you don't have any ranged units. You can snipe them with spine crawlers and queens, and I think we saw HyuN do that to, or maybe it was TLO, it was probably both players, to great effect last game, and did a really good job. But yeah, I mean, other than that, you've just got to throw lings in the way, try and knock them out with lings and banelings and stuff, lose the minimum amount of lings you can to wipe out a baneling. So you will see when a group of banelings come in, all the lings will run away, but he'll keep peeling off one or two to hit the banelings. And the idea is for the banelings to explode and only take out that one ling. And of course, banelings can't fight back against a ling because the baneling only has one attack, and that attack is to explode. So if it explodes against a single ling, it is definitely not getting its money's worth. So yeah, definitely do not want those banelings just to die to a few lings. If you can lose one baneling and take out like 10 lings, yeah, that's probably worth it. But one baneling for one ling, definitely not worth it. And we do have a lair coming down for TLO already, which yeah, it's fairly interesting. We do have a third base coming out for HyuN though, so he really wants to push it. I'm not exactly sure what this lair is going to be giving him. Maybe baneling speed or something. I'm not sure. Maybe he just wants overseers or something like that. I really couldn't say. I can't remember off the top of my head what everything that a lair gives you, but it does give you some good stuff. So he's going to be getting that. And we actually saw this last game, HyuN trying to cement the worker leadership, while TLO went for some early army options. And it looks like instead of going for a crap load of lings, he was getting about 20 lings at this point last game. He's going for a roach warren instead. So he's going to go for early pressure with the roach warren instead. But HyuN not too far behind on his own roach warren. So he's looking like he's in a very good spot at the moment. He's got a few lings out. He's got the Roach Warren, he's got the Lair, he's got the third base coming out. And yeah, I mean, TLO's doing some good stuff as well. But I think HyuN overall has just got a little bit more going on than TLO does. TLO's going to have the Roach Warren out earlier, but only by a matter of seconds. And HyuN continuing to push the worker numbers. So HyuN may be in trouble in a few minutes. In like the 10-minute mark, when TLO can push out with a large amount of roaches and do a massive amount of damage. But even then, I don't think it's going to be a massive amount of damage, because look at this, HyuN still getting out a ton of roaches here, and the income is really going to start to work for him in the next couple of minutes. So as long as he goes for a decent amount of roaches and does not just go worker nuts, I mean, he should be able to defend it, and the fact that he's already got a third base up and mining is going to give him a great advantage. So yeah, my pick is going to be for HyuN to win this game. I don't know if it's going to be soon, but definitely TLO needs to pull it around at the moment, because he's definitely behind. His upgrades are going to be a little bit sooner, but I mean, HyuN already has the same upgrades on the way, so it's not going to be a massive deficit. And it's 12 versus 12, so HyuN had everything a little bit later, but the extra workers he got, they're basically already paid for themselves. And TLO has been catching up, but I mean, a worker that you get at the 5-minute mark is worth way more than a worker you get at the 9-minute mark, and HyuN able to build much more than TLO has at the moment. And yeah, so it's a great job. And TLO, he must know that he's behind at the moment. He must know he's got to do something. He's really pushing the roach numbers, but HyuN is matching him on the roaches. And TLO is, I think he's going to be a little bit screwed in this game. He's pushing out to get level 2 weapons, trying to get some sort of edge. But if we have a look, it's 19 versus 26, so HyuN's economy, really pushing it. And TLO is trying to counter push the economy, trying to get over and above what HyuN already has. But HyuN is not going to let the lead go that easily. He's already got 6 more workers coming out, and that'll get him the lead once again. And meanwhile, the Queen, it's the slow versus the slow, man. Absolutely agonizingly slow, but finally does take that Overlord out. And level 2 weapons coming out for HyuN as well, so he is matching whatever TLO does. And he's definitely going to have the army advantage. But yeah, I don't know if TLO had a plan to push in with a roach push around the 11-minute mark, but that plan has definitely been thwarted before it could even be attempted. And it's just going to come down to, I don't know, maybe he is going to build push, maybe he's going to get a crap load of workers, go on to this level of weapons, and just go absolutely nuts. And I think so far HyuN has just been passively countering whatever TLO has been doing. I don't believe he's going for a roach push himself. He definitely has the numbers, but he's also got the economic advantage. And yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think that maybe he'd just hold on to that economic advantage for a little bit more, just build up a massive army. But the problem is, his massive army is matched by TLO's massive army. I mean, TLO has been going nuts. There we go, 47 versus 50, 57 versus 52. Extremely close at this point. And yeah, it's just roach versus roach at the moment. And they've basically said, well, you've got more roaches, so I'll build more roaches. And the other guy's like, well, I'll build more roaches as well. And neither player has the upgrades yet. TLO would have liked to wait for a couple more minutes, and HyuN deciding that he had the numbers to push in here, and he definitely does have the numbers, so he's going to go in. But TLO getting a nice curve here, doing a very good job, and HyuN not getting the best hits off that he possibly could, but he's still going to go in, and he's going to hope that his better economy is going to give him the reinforcement advantage here, and it probably will. But if we have a look at the units, 17 versus 14, so HyuN is definitely losing here, and most of the units are scattered out as reinforcements. TLO has them all grouped up, so he's in a great position. He does have 2 weapons, but 2 weapons for HyuN just about on the edge, and he does have a chance here to take out the third base, or try. I don't think it's going to work though. The roaches are going to be able to defend this quite easily. And yeah, it looks like TLO did a bit of a fake there to try and pull him back, but unfortunately he goes in this way, and HyuN just sees him once again. He's trying to get a sort of fold here, but TLO does not want to do it. He's just running back, And we're basically just back to square one. It's going to be definitely going into a mid-game sort of tech. And yeah, I don't think it's going to come down to roach play. I think it's going to have to come down to something else. It's going to have to come down to who can tech switch and get something going. If they tech switch and it works, they'll win the game. If they tech switch and the other player times it right, the other player can come in with a superior force of roaches and wipe them out. But if they just keep going for roaches for each player, then I believe it'll be a stalemate, unless they just go for roaches for like the next 20 minutes or something and finally beats them out. But nice bit of roaches coming in here though. Not going to really do much. Getting a scout off though, so that's something. And if we have a look, it's TLO, man, really pushing them, but HyuN just completely matching him. You can see TLO does have a small advantage. I thought he did. Wasn't he getting one armor? I thought that maybe HyuN is getting one armor. Yes, must be HyuN is getting the one armor, or maybe TLO cancelled it. I do not know. But we do have... TLO's definitely been... Yeah, but it's basically even. The game is basically even at this point. I mean, TLO has one more queen and maybe a couple of other things messed up, but yeah, other than that, it is completely even. Now, HyuN will have an advantage fairly soon, but TLO is going for the tech route, and yeah, in the next, the matter of the next few minutes, he will be at a disadvantage. Although not much of a disadvantage, because HyuN is going for a Hydralisk Den as well, and HyuN has actually got an advantage in this push. He got an advantage on this force and that force, and he's going to try and make it work. TLO getting a nice advantage there for a half a second before the forces came in from the north, and now he's just going to have to spread out here, get a nice concave, and that should be enough. But of course, HyuN already over there knew exactly what was going on. And look at this, man. I mean, HyuN has got the armor advantage, and TLO has got a bit earlier Hydras, but not going to be that much earlier, just a tiny little bit. And I don't think he can really make anything happen with this slightly earlier Hydralisk. I mean, he got him out a little bit earlier, but he hasn't been able to build out as much as HyuN. And HyuN, I don't know how he's getting that much more economy. He's not that far ahead. Maybe I think he was a bit more favourable in that last encounter. Maybe so he hasn't had to build as many roach reinforcements. But yeah, TLO really going for the Hydras there. And he's actually going for a fourth. And we see that HyuN is going for a fourth as well. So these guys do know the perfect timings for getting this stuff down. And once again, TLO falling back into the nice... He wants to get the nice concave. You can see that HyuN had a nice concave forming up there, and he did not like that, so he backed off. The question is, though, if HyuN does find out about this fourth base and takes it out, then, it looks like he may be going for it here. I do not know. He's only taken a couple of seconds to check that out, but he may be just going through there, and it is harder for TLO to get a concave in this area, but he's going to push out, see what happens, and right now he's just sniping Overlords, so he's doing a great job at taking out TLO's Overlords. But he has not seen this fourth base, and it's just about finished. The same is on with HyuN's own fourth base, I should say. The upgrades are really telling the tale there. HyuN is going to have one armor advantage. He's got one armor at the moment, but yeah, by the time this one armor finishes, HyuN will have two armor. So yeah, great job on him. And what are we trying to get? So we've got 62 roaches, 6 versus 55 and 12. So yeah, TLO has been pushing out the Hydra numbers a little bit harder than HyuN has. And yeah, I do not know if he's going to make anything happen. He's not going to make anything happen right here. Although these guys are just a distraction to send in this force. But HyuN, of course, has quite enough forces over there with a nice concave. And the fact that he didn't have these Hydras out there with his main armies means that these forces are going to be a bit of disadvantage and cannot push either sort of location. But he does have all the Hydras out in this force, and this is going to be quite a victory here, but he might get flanked quite badly from HyuN there, and if he gets flanked, then he is going to be completely screwed. And here we go, the force is pushing in, but how much damage can TLO do before the flank hits him? And the answer is quite a lot. He's continuing to push forward as much as he can, trying to get in a good position for when the flank comes. You can see he's got the Hydras in the middle of his force, so he's got the roaches in between the Hydras. He's wiped out most of the first army, and now he is pushing back against this. and he has got the concave from inside HyuN's own base. So really, really great play from TLO there with the positioning, and I think he's done a lot of good work here, but the reinforcements for HyuN are going to be on him very, very soon. You can see they're going out from absolutely everywhere. He's just got roaches. He doesn't think that hydras are going to be up to taking this out, and yeah, he's definitely in front there. So TLO doing a great job wiping out the army, and HyuN doing a great job countering with the roaches. And you saw, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw it, that was 15 workers coming out there. And yeah, I guess he had to replace all of the ones that TLO just wiped out. So great job getting them out so fast. But in terms of tech, man, he's actually starting to get infestors out. Infestors, of course, a great counter to hydras, because hydras don't have that much health, and hydras really, really have to rely on their range quite a bit. So you lock them down with a couple of fungals, not going to be good. And TLO continuing to get the hydras. He is not doing that well on the armor. He's only got one, whereas HyuN does have two, but he is pushing 3 weapons, and this is going to be quite powerful when he does get it out, especially with the hydras. Yeah, that will be quite awesome. But I do believe that HyuN does see this base. Please, yes, he does see that base. Yeah, so good on him. This one hydra going to be going nuts on this overlord. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And this force moving around, so he's going to put the infestors to the test, and they're going to have to get some good hits off, because this army from HyuN is not going to be as good as the army from TLO. You see 37 and 15 versus 35 and 12. He's actually put together a pretty good army there, as well as the infestors, man. So he's doing all sorts of good work. And yeah, I mean, he's just getting more and more hydras out from TLO. So he's going to be getting out in front fairly soon. You can see the hydras number just keep going out, getting ahead. But with the infestors, with the 6 infestors, I think HyuN has the advantage here. I would have thought that TLO might have had more army, but I guess, yeah, maybe being at a slight economic disadvantage for some part of the last 10 minutes was not really that good. You can see him moving a few roaches out there. He knows how infestors work. They go out, they try and get the fungals, and then they run back and let the rest of the army come in. So he had a small group of roaches out there first, waiting to snipe the infestors. He knows that HyuN doesn't want to use fungal growth on the roaches because it's just such a waste of a fungal growth. But these guys don't want to push out too much, and this is the chance that HyuN's waiting for. He's going to want to get the fungals all over the place here, but he's not doing it at the moment. There we go, starting to do it. Fungals, are they going to get the sweet spot right here? They're getting the edges, but it's hitting half roaches and half hydras. They haven't really got a sweet fungal on the hydras, and meanwhile the infestors just burrowing underground. Meanwhile, a nice flank going in, and yeah, the flank is in a beautiful position, but he does not have the numbers. And HyuN really showing that he knows how to get stuff done. He was pushing in this base as well, and he just had the army out there. I mean, TLO had some good forces, but they all got wiped out. The fungals just taking their toll on the roaches and a bit on the hydras as well, and the rest of the army just completely wiped everything else out. And TLO lost that army, and he was a bit up against the wall at that point anyway. So the fact that he lost his army meant he was really up against the back wall, and 3 weapons would not have helped him at this point because he just did not have the forces. So there we go. Congratulations to HyuN for really pushing it up back against TLO. And he is just overall the better player in this game. I mean, he teched out for infestors, and he still kept up with the same hydra numbers and the same roach numbers as TLO. I mean, we saw it in the unit limit. He had pretty much the same roaches, a little bit behind on hydras, but he had 6 infestors on top of that. And that is really great macro to be able to just go on top of your opponent and get more than him when, yeah, I mean, you're such high class players, both of you. And yeah, great job there on HyuN for winning this game and taking it back to 1-1. And yeah, it's definitely turning out to be a great series here, and we will be moving on to game number 3 now. Stay tuned, I will catch you guys then.